Warriors 129 to 112.
James Harden scores 36 points. Rocket rout Warriors 129 to 112. Rout. James Harden scores 36 points. Rocket rout Warriors 129 to 112.
Despite an entirely different lineup of Golden State Warriors, James Harden was still out for blood last Wednesday night.
Despite an entirely different lineup of Golden State Warriors, James Harden was still out for blood last Wednesday night. Despite an entirely different lineup of Golden State Warriors, James Harden was still out for blood last Wednesday night.
Harden had 36 points and 13 assists, and the Houston Rockets routed Golden State 129 to 112, sending the short-handed Warriors to their sixth loss in 8 games this season.
Harden had 36 points and 13 assists, and the Houston Rockets routed Golden State 129 and 112, sending the short-handed Warriors to their sixth loss in 8 games this season. Harden had 36 points and 13 assists, and the Houston Rockets routed Golden State 129 to 112, sending the short-handed Warriors to their sixth loss in 8 games this season.
Less than 6 months ago, a vastly different roster of Warriors ended another Houston playoff run for the third time in 4 seasons.
Less than six months ago, a vastly different roster of Warriors ended another Houston playoff run for the third time in 4 seasons. Less than 6 months ago, a vastly different roster of Warriors ended another Houston playoff run for the third time in 4 seasons. Less than 6 months ago, a vastly different roster of Warriors ended another Houston playoff run for the third time in 4 seasons.
That's a part of the league, Harden said about the changing faces. It's a part of the NBA. There's been a lot of different faces since I've been here. It was bound to happen at some point, and it is what it is. Harden again appeared to be moving.
That's part of the league, Harden said about the changing faces. It's part of the NBA. There's been a lot of different faces since I've been here. It was bound to happen at some point, and it is what it is. That's part of the league, Harden said about the changing faces. It's a part of the NBA. There's been a lot of different faces since I've been here. It was bound to happen at some point, and it is what it is.
Moving past his early shooting woes, going 6 of 16 from three-point range. Since going 17 of 79 on threes in his first 6 games, Harden has made 13 of 32 in the last 2.
Harden again appeared to be moving past his early shooting woes, going 6 of 16 from three-point range. Since going 17 of 79 on threes in his first 6 games, Harden has made 13 of 32 in the last 2. Harden again appeared to be moving past his early shooting woes, going 6 of 16 from 6 of 16 from three-point range. Since going 17 of 79 on threes in his first 6 games, Harden has made 13 of 32 in the last 2.
Harden's 292 points through the first 8 games, 36.5 points per game, marked the highest point total through 8 games since Michael Jordan had 303 in 1988 to 89.
Harden's 292 points through the first 8 games, 36.5 points per game, mark the highest point total through 8 games since Michael Jordan had 303 in 1988 and 89. Harden's 292 points through the first 8 games, 36.5 points per game, mark the highest point total through 8 games since Michael Jordan had 303 in 1988 and 1989.
Russell Westbrook had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. PJ Tucker had 22 points and 11 rebounds. Clint Capella added 19 points and 16 rebounds. And Austin Rivers was 4 for 4 from 3 with 12 points.
Russell Westbrook had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. PJ Tucker had 22 points and 11 rebounds. Clint Capella added 18 points and 16 rebounds, and Austin Rivers was 4 for 4 from 3 with 12 points.
Burks led Golden State with 28 points. Eric Pascal had 19 points, and Glenn Robinson III added 15 points and 11 rebounds.
Alka Burks led Golden State with 28 points. Eric Paschal had 19 points, and Glenn Robinson III added 15 points and 11 rebounds.
The rookie Pascal was challenged with guarding Harden for much of the game.
The rookie Pascal was challenged with guarding Harden for much of the game. The rookie Pascal was challenged with guarding Harden for much of the game.
It's just hard because he's so dynamic, and he's a great passer, Pascal said. And during his isolation plays, you can't really touch him because he's so smart on how he draws the fouls. As a team, we did a great job in the first half, but then he got hot and started hitting threes.
It's just hard because he's so dynamic and he's a great passer, Pascal said, and during his isolation plays, you can't really touch him because he's so smart on how he draws the fouls. As a team, we did a good job in the first half, but then he got hot and started hitting threes. It's just hard because he's so dynamic and he's a great passer, Pascal said, and during his isolation plays, you can't really touch him because he's so smart on how he draws the fouls. As a team, we did a good job in the first half, but then he got hot and started hitting threes.
UK leader Boris Johnson sorry for missing Brexit deadline.
UK leader Boris Johnson sorry for missing Brexit deadline. UK leader Boris Johnson sorry for missed Brexit deadline.
Britain's election campaign heated up with Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying he would apologise to Conservatives for failing to take the UK out of the European Union by October 31st, and Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage saying he won't personally run for a seat in Parliament.
Britain's election campaign heated up with Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying he would apologize to Conservatives for failing to take the UK out of the European Union by October the 31st, and Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage saying he won't personally run for a seat in Parliament. Britain's election campaign heated up with Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying he would apologize to Conservatives for failing to take the UK out of the European Union by October the 31st, and Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage saying he won't personally run for a seat in Parliament.
Johnson's promise to have Britain leave the bloc by October 31st had been the central plank in the party leadership competition that brought him to power in July.
Johnson's promise to have Britain leave the bloc by October the 31st had been the central plank in the party leadership competition that brought him to power in July. Johnson's promise to have Britain leave the bloc by October the 31st had been the central plank in the party leadership competition that brought him to power in July.
He told Sky News on Sunday that it was a matter of deep regret that he failed to do so. Asked if he was sorry about missing the deadline, Johnson said, "Yes, absolutely."
He told Sky News on Sunday that it was a matter of deep regret that he failed to do so. Asked if he was sorry about missing the deadline, Johnson said, "Yes, absolutely." He told Sky News on Sunday that it was a matter of deep regret that he failed to do so. Asked if he was sorry about missing the deadline, Johnson said, "Yes, absolutely."
Johnson's failure to deliver may cost him some backing from voters drawn to his fiery rhetoric on the need to finalize Brexit, including his famous statement that he would rather die in a ditch than seek another extension. But his pledge to leave by October.
Johnson's failure to deliver may cost him some backing from voters drawn to his fiery rhetoric on the need to finalize Brexit, including his famous statement that he would rather die in a ditch than seek another extension. Johnson's failure to deliver may cost him some backing from voters drawn to his fiery rhetoric on the need to finalize Brexit, including his famous statement that he would rather die in a ditch than seek another extension.
31st, with or without a divorce deal, was blocked by Parliament, which required him to seek a Brexit delay. The EU has granted a 3-month Brexit extension until January 31st.
But his pledge to leave by October 31st with or without a divorce deal was blocked by Parliament, which required him to seek a Brexit delay. The EU has granted a 3-month Brexit extension until January 31st, but his pledge to leave by October 31st with or without a divorce deal was blocked by Parliament, which required him to seek a Brexit delay. The EU was granted a 3-month Brexit extension until January 31.
Johnson pushed hard for an early national election on December 12th, in which he hopes to get a more Brexit-friendly parliament that will, finally, pass his proposed deal with the EU.
Johnson pushed hard for an early national election on December 12th, in which he hopes to get a more Brexit-friendly parliament that will finally pass his proposed deal with the EU. Johnson pushed hard for an early national election on December 12th, in which he hopes to get a more Brexit-friendly parliament that will finally pass his proposed deal with the EU. Johnson pushed hard for an early national election on December 12th, in which he hopes to get a more Brexit-friendly parliament that will finally pass its proposed deal with the EU.
He also said that his government wouldn't approve another legally binding referendum of independence for Scotland.
He also said that his government wouldn't approve another legal binding referendum of independence for Scotland. He also said that his government wouldn't approve another legal binding referendum of independence for Scotland.
The campaign won't officially begin until after Parliament is dissolved and various party alliances are still being formed.
The campaign
Farage, the leader of the Brexit Party,
The campaign won't officially begin until after Parliament is dissolved and various party alliances are still being formed. The campaign won't officially begin until after Parliament is dissolved and various party alliances are still being formed.
Told the BBC that he can serve the cause of Brexit better by traveling throughout Britain to support 600 Brexit Party candidates rather than by seeking a seat for himself.
Farage, the leader of the Brexit Party, told the BBC that he can serve the cause of Brexit better by traveling throughout Britain to support 600 Brexit Party candidates rather than by seeking a seat for himself. Farage, the leader of the Brexit Party, told the BBC that he can serve the cause of Brexit better by traveling throughout Britain to support 6 Brexit Party candidates rather than by seeking a seat for himself.
Zach Posen, red carpet favorite, shuts down fashion label.
Zach Posen, red carpet favorite, shuts down fashion label. Zach Posen, red carpet favorite, shuts down fashion label.
Designer Zach Posen is shutting down his namesake label.
Designer Zach Posen is shutting down his namesake label. Designer Zach Posen is shutting down his namesake label.
Posen has been a red carpet favorite for close to 2 decades, known for glamorous, body-hugging gowns, often with long trains or big flamboyant ruffles, for stars like Katie Holmes and Rihanna.
Posen has been a red carpet favorite for close to 2 decades, known for glamorous body-hugging gowns, often with long trains or big flamboyant ruffles, for stars like Katie Holmes and Rihanna. Flamboyant ruffles. Posen has been a red carpet favorite for close to 2 decades, known for glamorous body-hugging gowns, often with long trains or big, flamboyant ruffles for stars like Katie Holmes and Rihanna.
Announcement from the label's owners, House of Z and Z Spoke, noted late Friday that the company could no longer continue operations. It had been in a sale process.
An announcement from the label owners House of Z and Z Spoke noted late Friday that the company could no longer continue operations. It had been in a sale process. An announcement from the label's owners House of Z and Z Spoke noted late Friday that the company could no longer continue operations. It had been in a sale process.
Posen, 39, was considered a wonderkind of New York fashion when he launched his label in 2001. He also serves as creative director for the Brooks Brothers women's collection.
Posen, 39, was considered a wonderkind of New York fashion when he launched his label in 2001. He also serves as creative director for the Brooks Brothers women's collections. Posen, 39, was considered a wonderkind wonderkind of New York fashion when he launched his label in 2001. He also serves as creative director for the Brock Brothers women's collection.
Management team worked extremely hard to navigate the increasingly challenging fashion and retail landscape, he said in a statement Friday.
The management team worked extremely hard to navigate the increasingly challenging fashion and retail landscape, he said in a statement Friday. The management team worked extremely hard to navigate the increasingly challenging fashion and retail landscape, he said in a statement Friday.
We are disappointed that these efforts have not been successful and deeply saddened that the journey of nearly 20 years has come to an end. I am grateful to the team.
We are disappointed that these efforts have not been successful and deeply saddened that the journey of nearly 20 years has come to an end.
Who lent their incomparable talent and commitment along the way. I remain incredibly proud of what we created and hopeful for the future.
I'm grateful to team who lent their incomparable talent and commitment along the way. I remain incredibly proud of what we created and hopeful for the future. We are disappointed that these efforts have not been successful and deeply saddened that the journey of nearly 20 years has come to an end. I'm grateful to the team who lent their incomparable talent and commitment along the way. I remain incredibly proud of what we created and hopeful for the future.
Among Posen's many prominent designs was a mermaid-like gown for Gwyneth Paltrow at the Oscars in 2007, an off-the-shoulder gown with brightly sequined skirt for Oprah Winfrey at the Oscars in 2011, and a fitted pink satin gown for Rihanna at the Diamond Ball in 2014.
Among Poison's many prominent designers was a mermaid-like gown for Gwyneth Paltrow at the Oscar in 2007, an off-the-shoulder gown with brightly sequined skirt for Oprah Winfrey at the Oscar in 2011, and a fitted pink satin gown for Rihanna at the Diamond Ball in 2014. Among Poison's many prominent designers was a mermaid-like gown for Gwyneth Paltrow at the Oscar in 2007, and off-the-shoulder gown with brightly sequined skirt for Oprah Winfrey at the Oscar in 2011, and a fitted pink satin gown for Rihanna at the Diamond Ball in 2014.
He swathed actress Claire Danes in pastel blue organza at the 2016 Met Gala with a twist. Her Cinderella-inspired dress was made with fiber optics, and it lit up in the dark.
He swathed actress Claire Danes in pastel blue organza at the 2016 Met Gala with a twist. Her Cinderella-inspired dress was made with fiber optic, and it lit up in the dark. He swathed actress Claire Danes in pastel blue organza at the 2016 Met Gala with a twist. Her Cinderella-inspired dress was made with fiber optics, and it lit up in the dark.
Katie Holmes was a frequent client, and his swirling purple one-shouldered gown for her at this year's Met Gala included cutting-edge 3D printed elements.
Katie Holmes was a frequent client, and his swirling purple one-shoulder gown for her at this year's Met Gala included cutting-edge 3D printed elements. Katie Holmes was a frequent client, and his swirling purple one-shoulder gown for her at this year's Met Gala included cutting-edge 3D printed elements. James Harden scored 36 points. Rocket rout Warriors 129 to 112. Despite an entirely different lineup of Golden State Warriors, James Harden was still out for blood last Wednesday night. Harden had 36 points and 13 assists, and the Houston Rockets routed Golden State 129-112, sending the short-headed Warriors their sixth loss in 8 games this season. Less than 6 months ago, a vastly different roster of Warriors ended another Houston playoff run for a third time in 4 seasons. That's a part of the league, Harden said about the changing faces. It's a part of the NBA. There's been a lot of different faces since I've been here. It was bound to happen at some point, and it is what it is. Harden again appeared to be moving past his early shooting woes, going 6 of 16 from three-point range. Since going 17 of 79 on threes in his first 6 games, Harden has made 13 of 32 in the last 2. Harden's 292 points through the first 8 games marked the highest point total through 8 games since Michael Jordan had 303 in 1988-89. Russell Westbrook had 18 points, 80 rebounds, and 6 assists. PJ Tucker had 22 points and 11 rebounds. Clint Capella added 19 points and 16 rebounds. And Austin Rivers was 4 for 4 from 3 with 12 points. Alec Burks led Golden State with 28 points, Eric Ball 19 points, and Glenn Robinson third added 15 points and 11 rebounds. The rookie Pascal was challenged with guarding Harden for much of the game. It's just hard because he's so dynamic and he's a great passer, Pascal said. And during his isolation plays, you can't really touch him because he's so smart on how he draws the fouls. As a team, we did a great job in the first half, but then he got hot and started hit threes. UK leader Boris Johnson sorry for missing Brexit deadline. Britain's election campaign heated up with Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying he would apologize to Conservatives for failing to take UK out of the European Union. Leader Farage saying he won't personally run for a seat in Parliament. Johnson's promise to help Britain leave the first even central plank leadership competition in July. He told Sky News on Sunday that it was a matter of deep regret that he failed to do so. Asked if he was sorry about missing the deadline, Johnson said yes, absolutely. Johnson's failure to deliver may cause him some backing from voters drawn to his fiery rhetoric on the need to finalize Brexit, including his famous statement that he would rather die in a ditch than seeking another extension. But his pledge to leave by October 31st with or without a divorce deal was blocked by Parliament, which required him to seek a Brexit delay. The EU has granted a 3-month Brexit extension until January 31st. Johnson pushed hard for an early national election on December 12, in which he hopes to get a more Brexit-fair Parliament that will finally pass his proposed deal with the EU. He also said that his government wouldn't approve another legally binding referendum of independence for Scotland. The campaign won't officially begin until after Parliament is dissolved and various party alliances are still being formed. Farage, the leader of the Brexit Party, told the BBC that he can serve the cause of Brexit better by travelling throughout Britain to support 6 Brexit Party candidates rather than by seeking a seat for himself.